I just want to summarize on what we've gone over so far.
Okay.
So you've said that you have recently come to the realization that you might be suffering from um, prenatal and postnatal anxiety and or depression.
Yeah.
Um, that you're also quite worried about um, giving birth while COVID's happening and
Yes.
the effects that that's going to have on your child,
Mhm.
um, and that you're going to be away from your eldest, and all of those things make you nervous and
Yeah.
have got you worried. How are you feeling now that we've gone over some of these things compared to how you felt when you first walked in? Because you were very nervous.
I feel like I'm a little bit more at ease now. I think just having to be able to say everything out loud, I think, has even helped me a bit.
Yeah, just
Um,
getting it off your chest.
yeah, it's kind of like I have so many feelings and like in my head that like just having to say them out loud has kind of gotten that a little bit off my chest,
Yeah.
maybe, or like it's kind of like cleared my mind a little bit, even
Hmm.
though I still am very nervous about giving birth in the hospital and not being able to pick up on the symptoms that, I could be getting postnatal anxiety or depression,
Yeah.
even though I'm not even really sure if depression is probably the right word because it's not that I don't know, I kind of just think that for me, like I don't know anyone who well, I don't know anyone who openly has a mental illness.
Yeah.
Like I kind of feel like if you have depression when you have a newborn, it's kind of
Mhm.
like you don't want to have a relationship with that child or you're really upset. Well, I never was upset about having my child. I was more or like losing my freedom or anything like that. I was more upset of the thought of something happening to her.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's a lot of the time that's a misconception that people have about postnatal. You know,
okay.
um you could be so overwhelmingly in love with your child and still be suffering from postnatal. It doesn't necessarily mean that,
Okay.
you don't love your child or you want to cause your child harm or
Yeah.
things like that. And that's the thing with anxiety and depression is they go hand in hand. Majority of
Okay.
the time, if you are suffering from depression, 99.9% of the time, you've got anxiety in there as well. Because
Okay.
the anxiety itself can cause depression
Yeah.
and the depression itself can cause the anxiety.
Yeah.
You start to feel good and then you get scared that you're going to start feeling sad again.
Okay.
They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that you're not putting too much pressure on yourself and you're not being too critical of yourself that, you know, I I don't want you to feel like that, but I love my child, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
You know? I love
Yeah.
my child, so why am I having these feelings? You know?
Yeah.
Um now I'm glad that you're feeling better, even just talking and getting it off your chest, that's you're making progress. And I think that that's wonderful. Um, Now, I know we've gone over a lot in this session. Is there anything else that you want to add before before we get into when you come back in for your next session?
Like I don't really even know how to probably explain what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I'm having my second child, I'm kind of just thinking about the relationship that I have with my sister. She's my only other sibling.
Okay.
And recently, like, oh, we had a big falling out when I was pregnant with my oldest child because I was 21 when
Mm-hmm.
I had her, or maybe 22. It might have just been 22 when I had her, and I was 21 when I fell pregnant
Mm-hmm.
for sure, and um, she did not like the fact that I was having a baby. I didn't understand why, and I
Okay.
still don't understand why. But she's recently, well, that's kind of when our relationship started to fall apart. But she's recently released a podcast out of nowhere,
Okay.
talking about stuff that happened in our childhood. Like when she
Right.
came out to my mum.
Yeah.
And she's kind of publicly said a lot of things that didn't happen, and
Yeah.
that's really upset me. And I don't know if it's because, you know, that's my mum,
Yeah.
or if it's because I'm very, very hormonal because I am having another baby, and I'm thinking, you know, hope that my two girls don't have that relationship.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But
So,
yeah, it's a lot of things, and she even said that she has depression, and that and I just don't understand that because I've never seen those signs, and
yeah.
that's another thing that made me think that, you know, maybe I did have depression. I didn't realize,
Mm-hmm.
because if she has it and I didn't realize,
Yeah.
how could I have it and not realized?
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's like another thing that's just added to my like overthinking,
Yeah.
possibly.
So, how long has it been since you and your sister have spoken?
Oh, like we talk, but we don't get along.
Right. Okay. So you're in contact, but
Yeah.
you don't go out of your way to spend time with her, or
No, like, so she lives in Melbourne and I live in Queensland. So
okay.
there's like obviously a state difference, but
Yeah.
I keep communication open so she can speak to my child, my oldest
Okay.
child,
Okay.
because I don't want to ruin that relationship, because I think that's a good relationship to have, like
Yeah.
auntie and niece,
Yeah.
but me
That's
and
very
her.
big of you, I have to say. That's,
Thank you.
that's
It's
a big thing, to be able to put your own feelings aside and your own
Yeah.
issues aside to make sure that your daughter has that relationship with her auntie. That's really good.
And I try and do that with every adult in my daughter's life.
Hmm.
I try to take myself out of the situation. I'm like, I cannot want a relationship with someone and still want my child to have a relationship with someone, and I try
Yeah.
not to ruin that for her, because, you know, once she's old enough she can make that decision for herself.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, I try and not talk to my sister because it just gets too heated,
Hmm.
and she is my only sibling, and like, I don't have my dad around.
Yeah.
Well, we both have the same dad and we both have the same mum,
Okay.
but we don't talk to my dad. Well, I don't talk to my dad. I don't think she's talked to my dad for a very long time either.
Yeah.
But like, and this sounds horrible, but when my mum does eventually pass away,
Hmm.
hopefully like in 30-40 years,
Hmm.
so I know that I'm only going to have my sister.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like where I'm worried, because I know that if there's fractions
Hmm.
in our relationship, and there has been for a long time, it's really kind of like the podcast thing came out of the blue, which is like caused me a lot of emotions. Like, and I don't even know fully how to explain that, because I'm angry, I'm upset,
Hmm.
and then I'm also like heartbroken for her if that's actually what she felt like during that situation.
Yeah.
But I'm also really upset that she, like, when she did come out, my mom didn't take it super amazing probably for the first week, but after that she was very supportive.
Okay. Yeah.
But I was very, very supportive of her from the beginning.
Hmm.
And in the podcast she kind of makes out that her whole family didn't care for her, and
Yeah.
stuff like that, where that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
And if that's what upset me the most, is like, I was there, I was like, I'm going to love you regardless. And my mum was like, I'm going to love you regardless, but right now I just need to more, not really necessarily more the child that, or the future that she thought she was
Mm.
going to have with her. Because she can still get married, she can still have babies.
That's right.
But my mum is a Catholic school
Hmm.
teacher. My
Right.
grandparents are Catholic.
Yeah.
I'm Catholic, but I'm very open-minded. And like, the priest who married me has grandchildren,
Yeah.
and was at like a rally and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's not necessarily like Catholics don't care for people who are in same-sex relationships. I think it's just my mum kind of just like took a huge
She needed to
shock.
adjust.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is you're feeling almost betrayed.
I like I, that portrayed probably is the best word.
Mm-hmm.
I I think it was more the fact that it has been released to the public and it wasn't a private conversation. Probably
Yes. Yeah.
is probably my biggest thing, because I know now that, like, I know that when you put stuff on the internet, it can be there forever. And I'm like, what if my child hears that in 10 years' time? Or what if both my girls hear that in 10 years' time and think,
Mm-hmm.
is that really how my nan reacted?
Yeah.
And it's not, it's not actually what happened.
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of dramatized it to make it sound worse than what it did,
Yeah.
because her co-host's coming out story is very accepting.
Yeah.
I understand that they need kind of like those levels, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel like maybe she should have got someone in who actually did go through the horrific side.
Yeah.
I think my sister was kind of in the middle.
Yeah. Okay. Have you ever spoken to your sister about the podcast
Yes.
and how it makes you feel?
Yes, and my sister kind of was like, it's my story. It's not about my mum. It's not about you, and I do get that, and I
She
understand
just
that.
brushed it off.
Yeah, she is very protective over what she thinks, because she thinks that she's doing the right thing.
Okay.
And I think too that she's doing the right thing. I just think she's going about it on the wrong approach.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
because she still hasn't come out to all of our family.
Okay.
And that also gives me so much anxiety, because I was
Yeah.
like, what if I slip and say something? Even
Yeah.
though I've been holding, it's not necessarily a secret, because she's very kind of open about it
Mm-hmm.
in in front of people who already know, but like my grandparents don't know. So
Mm-hmm.
the Christmases for the last 4 years or so, because she came out just before I fell pregnant, so probably, yeah, 4 Christmases.
Yep.
Have been very tense, because I feel like everyone's holding this huge secret
Yeah.
from other people, and it's a lot of pressure. And
Yeah.
I know that, like, coming into this Christmas, the fifth Christmas, and I'm like, the first one I was like, I understand, this is very new. Second one I was like, I kind of understand.
Mm-hmm.
Second and third and fourth Christmas, she had a serious relationship, and she's just ended that serious relationship. I'm like, oh, is she going to come out? Is she not going to come out?
Yeah.
And now with that podcast, I feel like she kind of has to.
Yeah.
And my grandparents are going to be so accepting, because my cousin came out and they were super accepting of him. So I don't know why she's worried,
Yeah.
but I'm
Just
more upset at her for the
yeah.
podcast.
Yeah. And that's completely understandable. And I think that we should delve further into that when you come back for your next session. I think that that's a good place to start, because
Yes.
I think that um, those unresolved issues and those unresolved anxieties
Yeah.
have a definite part in your current anxieties that you're having now. I think I feel like it's all connected.
Okay. Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll leave that there for now. Now, how do you want to go about coming back for your next session? Do you want to come back in a week, in a fortnight? We need to work it around when you have your baby.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
How would you
Um,
like to do that?
I'm thinking at this stage that we do probably fortnightly, because
Yep.
I'm 36 weeks now. So if we have the next session at 38,
Yep.
I'm booked into have my baby at 38 plus 5. So I think that kind of gives me, like a week and a bit to
Yep.
do the session after that once I'm home. Because I
Perfect.
think that session, that not next session, but the session after, I think that knowing that I'm going to be able to talk to you a
Mm-hmm.
week and a half after I've had a child, or like, a week after I had a child, because I know that,
Yep.
emergencies happen and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that kind of doesn't necessarily give me, like, I don't know, it makes me feel better knowing that if I'm having the anxiety feelings straight after I have her, or if I'm feeling like I'm very heavily into that baby blue stage.
Yep.
That I feel like checking in with you at that stage, I think is going to make me feel a lot calmer.
Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem. And, I'll get my receptionist to fax you my email and our business hours and our phone number and things like that as well. So if at any time, of course, within our business hours, if you're feeling like you're having trouble, but you can't get online to come and have a chat, or you can't come in to come and see us, leave a message with one of the receptionists and I will give you a call or I'll email you back as soon as I can. And we can talk through some things to try and minimize the feelings that you're feeling at that time.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful.
Not a problem. Okay, well, we'll leave it there for now and I will talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. See you later.